And best of luck, everyone. I hope everyone is familiar with the rules, etc.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Good luck.
So let's start. Best of luck. I'm just going to add a timer. Okay, first question for Kristian. Which musical, based on a book written by David Nichols and adapted to a 2006 film starring James McAvoy and Benedict Cumberbatch, opened to mixed reviews last year? Inspired by a TV program loved by our players, its title was made popular by Bamber Gascoigne to kickstart the TV program.
Starter for 10.
Absolutely correct answer to start the match. It is starter for 10. Well done. The series, of course, being University Challenge, on which it is based. Next question for Kristian. Recently, Royal Challengers Bengaluru ended an 18-year wait to lift the IPL title. It was one of many trophy droughts that ended this year around the world. Which London football team ended a 119-year wait for silverware when they beat Manchester City 1-0 in the latest FA Cup final in a David versus Goliath contest?
Crystal Palace.
Correct again. Crystal Palace is correct. Well done. Would have accepted Palace also, but Crystal Palace. So 2 for 2 for Kristian, and Tora's questions now. This 1939 account of the sharecropping Joad family, devastated by the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl, won a Pulitzer and was adapted for the screen by John Ford in 1940. Which book?
Of Mice and Men.
Not of Mice and Men. Tomasz?
A Grape of Red by Steinbeck.
That is correct. It's the other Steinbeck book. It's The Grapes of Wrath. Good steal there by Tomasz. Next question for Tora. From the Greek for to hide, which rare earth element has the atomic number 57? Alternatively, give the name of the series in the periodic table comprising elements with atomic numbers 57 to 70 inclusive.
Lanthanum.
Correct answer. Lanthanum is correct. And the series is the lanthanide series, and lanthanane means to hide. Great answer there. Tomasz's questions now. What royal title from the Islamic world is derived from an Arabic noun meaning strength or authority and came to be used as the title of certain rulers who claimed almost full practical sovereignty without claiming the overall caliphate from 10th century onwards? This was to disambiguate from more secular malik, that is king, or emir for governors. Ten seconds.
No idea, pass.
Passes to John.
Sultan.
Sultan or Sultan is correct. I would have prompted on Padishah or Hunkar, but Sultan is the absolutely correct answer, so no reason to prompt there. Next question for Tomasz. This advertisement by the National Resources Defense Council, or NRDC, displays their message by getting the external chimney pipe on the roof to smoothly transition into what hidden in the image. The tagline reads, "Air pollution kills 60,000 people a year."
Just smoke.
No. Kristian?
Cigarette.
No. Tora?
Pass.
John?
Pass.
This is a gun barrel or just gun. It's a smoking gun barrel, basically.
Okay.
And it's John's questions now. Blank Blank, 8 and 5 letters, is a Depeche Mode song with famous covers by artists like Johnny Cash and Marilyn Manson. It was inspired by the book Elvis and Me by Priscilla Presley, wherein she talks about how Elvis took on a godlike stature in her eyes. Just fill in the blanks.
Personal Jesus.
Great song there. It is Personal Jesus. Great song and great answer. Next question for John. What is the world's second largest office building? It was built incredibly quickly from the groundbreaking ceremony on 9/11/1941 to its dedication in early 1943 and boasts 5 concentric rings connected by 10 corridors totaling 17.5 miles. Due to its size, it uses 6 different zip codes.
Pass.
Tora?
The Pentagon.
That is correct. It is the Pentagon, or the headquarters of the US Department of Defense. During the 9/11/2001 attacks, part of the southwest side of the building was damaged and 189 people, including the terrorists, were killed. And with that, we move on to round 2, questions for Kristian. The rare earth elements with the chemical symbols Er, Tb, Y, and Yb are named after a specific location whose name translates to outer village in which country? You can tell us the specific location or the country.
Ytterby in Sweden.
That is correct. In your neighboring country, in fact. Ytterby or Sweden is the right answer. Next question for Kristian. Atomic Blonde of 2017 is set in the days leading up to which momentous historical event that drew a curtain on the 80s, capturing the tension and intrigue surrounding the Cold War? The film depicts the city's volatility with gang wars and political maneuvering happening on the brink of the said event.
The fall of the Berlin Wall.
Absolutely correct. It is exactly the fall of the Berlin Wall. Well done. Tora's questions now. Kwachi, one of the 3 mascots of the 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver, is an anthropomorphic representation of which hairy, large creature said to be spotted in that part of the world?
The Sasquatch.
Sasquatch is absolutely correct. Well done. I would have accepted Bigfoot, but didn't have to because you went with the exactly right answer.
I was wondering if you would accept Bigfoot.
I would have accepted, but I wouldn't have accepted Yeti. I would have had to prompt you. Next question for Tora. Defined in the OED as to turn up with the spade, especially to dig or dig ground in preparation for crop, what term has been associated with the use of large language models, ChatGPT, due to its purported frequency in AI-generated documents?
I don't know. Braid.
Can you repeat that?
Braid.
No. Tomasz?
Pass.
John?
Pass.
Kristian?
Hill.
Could you repeat that, please?
Hill. T-I-L-L. Till.
No. This is delve.
Oh, delve.
Yes.
I didn't think delve was.
ChatGPT,
Okay.
when generating text, apparently frequently uses delve and delve into, even when other more common phrasings might be more natural for a human writer. So
I have heard of
delve is
that
the word.
delving thing, but it didn't fit the. I didn't think it fit the description, but that's my
Yes,
mistake.
I mean, even I didn't know that delve, according to the dictionary, means turning up with the spade, but there you have it. One learns
No.
new things every day.
Yeah.
Question for Tomasz. This effect is used in cognitive sciences when discussing depth and perception. In architecture, it is used in topics related to impossibility in geometry. Both effects are named for which 20th century artists' depictions of staircases?
Escher.
Absolutely. The most famous depictor of staircases, MC Escher. Escher is sufficient, you said. The next question for Tomasz. At the 2024 T20 World Cup final against India, he was out early and had to see the team he was captaining lose a chase from the sidelines. In the 2025 World Test Championship final, he took matters in his own hands to score a fourth innings century at Lord's to win his team the game. Who is this cricketer, a rare member of the palindromic 11?
I'm not cricket guy, so pass.
John,
Pass.
Tore,
Pass.
Kristian?
Pass.
I don't think any of you are from cricket playing nation, so this is a tough one. This is a guy called Aidan Markram of South Africa, ending their 27-year wait for an ICC title. Their last was the 1998 ICC knockout in Dhaka. And it's questions for John. The OED claims this word has been dated to as early as 1632. Its current use in corporate jargon has been the subject of parody. What is this word made up of Greek roots for together and work, which pretty much defines the term?
Cooperate.
Could you repeat that?
Cooperate.
No. Tore?
Synergy?
Synergy is correct. Well done. That major example of corporate speak, but it is synergy. Next question for John. The film Twilight of the Warriors Walled In depicts what during the 1980s, a period before its demolition in 1993. This action crime film, based on a manhwa series, provides a fictionalized look at life within the densely populated and lawless area.
Alcatraz.
Not Alcatraz. Thomas?
No idea, pass.
Kristian?
This Kowloon walled city.
It is Kowloon
Hong
Walled
Kong.
City. Well done.
Wow.
I would have accepted Hak Nam also, the Cantonese name, and would have prompted on City of Darkness, but Kowloon Walled City is the perfect answer. Well done. And with that, we move on to round 3, Kristian's questions. 3-letter IATA codes often coincide with English words when spelled out. Don't get angry at the setters, but retaliate by answering the following question. Provide the IATA code for the airport located approximately 20 kilometers from a particular European golden triangle of art.
MAD. Mad.
That is correct. Mad for Madrid.
Angry.
Does anyone know what the 3 museums are on the Golden Triangle of Art?
Yeah, it's in Madrid. Reina Sofia, Prado. And Thyssen-Borne.
Thyssen-Bornemisza. Yes,
Been to
exactly.
all of them, so
I wouldn't have been known the third one.
I have not been to the Thyssen-Bornemisza. I've been to the Prado and the Reina Sofia.
Yeah.
Maybe the next time I'm in Madrid. Next question for Kristian. Powder the Hare, Coal the Bear, and which other animal named Copper were the trio of mascots at the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Olympics? A trickster in Native American tales, this clever creature is more often found in cartoons. It also names an American watering hole where a 2000 film unfolds.
Coyote.
That is correct. The reference was to Wile E. Coyote from Roadrunner and the Coyote Ugly Saloon, the international chain of bars whose bartenders dance on the bar. It served as the setting for the 2000 movie Coyote Ugly. And I must admit, I did not know Coyote Ugly was an actual bar. I thought it was a fictional bar in the movie. But next questions for Tora. Which psychological pricing strategy, often associated with the Czech brand name in India, sets prices just below round numbers like 99 rupees and 99 paise to make them seem cheaper and more appealing to customers? The operative word suggests a gentle, almost magical influence on the buyer's perception. You can alternatively give us the Czech company's name.
I have no idea. Skoda strategy.
No, Tomasz?
Bata, the shoemaker. Bata.
Bata is correct.
Oh.
Well done. It's charm pricing
I've heard
and barter pricing. Bata being the Czech company. So great answer there. Next question for Tora. HTTP error codes are sometimes made in jest. HTTP 418 was introduced on April Fool's Day 1998 for a device to inform the user that it is what type of kitchenware. This type of kitchenware is used as a standard short and stout test model in 3D computer graphics, inspired by a real-world one by Melita.
A coffee pot?
I can prompt you.
A coffee maker?
I can't give it to you, John.
A teapot.
It is a teapot.
Okay.
Very close there. I was allowed to prompt on coffee pot, but I had to give it on teapot.
Yeah, so I don't like that they included Melita there because they're, at least here, much more famous for their coffee pots than teapots. So it's really
Yeah, the
That's,
short and stout kind of gives it away.
for English-speaking
for
people,
English speakers,
perhaps.
Right. The Utah teapot is a standard model based on a real-world Melita teapot to test 3D modeling techniques since the 1970s. So maybe they put it in on purpose to throw people off. I don't know. Next question for Tomasz. Two rare earth elements are ultimately named after gods or goddesses in Roman or Greek mythology. One is named via a dwarf planet, and the other often someone doomed for their forward thinking. Name either one.
Cerium from Ceres.
That is correct. Do you want to take a guess on the other one?
No.
Prometheus, probably. Prometheum.
Yes, it is Prometheum. So Cerium or Prometheum are the two. Ceres and Prometheus are. Ceres is the dwarf planet, and Prometheus, the titan named for bringing fire to Earth. The name Prometheus means forethought or foresight. Next question for Tomasz. What was first introduced in the 1969 book on death and dying and was inspired by the author's work with terminally ill patients? Motivated by the lack of instruction in medical schools on the subject of death and dying, the author examined death and those faced with it at the University of Chicago's medical school. Ten seconds.
It's 5 terms of how dying, depression, and more. 5 steps of what.
I need some specific operative words.
I think that's a little like English biased. Like his
I,
explanation
you know what?
seems
Yeah,
correct to me.
I'll give
I
it to you.
agree.
I think you were on the right.
He wants grief, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the 5 stages of grief or the Kubler-Ross model. But yeah, I mean, close enough, I think. You well done. John's questions now. This advertisement by the American Disability Foundation has beautifully painted a 3D image of what on the staircase. It also went with the tagline, "For some, it's blank."
A
10
ramp.
seconds. Sorry, could you repeat that?
A ramp.
No. Tora?
Pass.
Tomasz?
Maybe mountain, Everest.
Yes, that is the correct answer.
I would've
Mount
guessed it.
Everest is the right answer. Basically, stairs for some people with disabilities is Mount Everest. So well done. Next question for John. Chicago O'Hare Airport is given an interesting IATA code of ORD. It would be fruitful if you work out the rationale behind this and tell us what the IATA code refers to.
Orchards.
That is exactly right. It is Orchard. Its former name is Orchard Field Airport. There used to be actual orchards there, apparently. And we're on to round 4. Questions for Kristian. Which satirical 2008 novel with a fruity title by writer-journalist Mohammed Hanif was inspired by the mysterious 1988 plane crash that killed Pakistani dictator General Zia-ul Haq? Blending fiction with real events, it weaves military intrigue and dark humor to explore authoritarianism, US-Pakistan relations, and the absurdities of political power. Ten seconds.
The Orange Box.
Not the orange box. Tora,
Pass.
John,
Pass.
Tomasz.
Pass.
So the fairly famous book in the subcontinent, A Case of Exploding Mangoes is what it was called.
Vaguely heard of it, but yeah, could not.
Yeah. Next question, Kristian. Who was the first figure in history to grant himself the title of Sultan or Sultan, ruling from 998 to 1030 AD, controlling an empire run from present-day Afghanistan and the surrounding regions, and known for his plundering raids well into the Indian subcontinent? 10
I don't know. Chandragupta.
No. Tora,
Pass.
John,
Pass.
Tomasz.
I don't remember pass.
It's not Ghazni, is it?
It is actually. It's Mahmud of Ghazni.
Ah.
I needed
Lost.
both Mahmud and
Okay.
Ghazni,
I wouldn't have had that.
or Mahmud Ghaznavi. He's a very famous invader of India. He did many, many invasions of India. So, slightly infamous character in this country. Questions for Tora. This Tom Jones song, which describes the infidelity of the titular woman from the perspective of a significant other, is named after a treacherous biblical character. The character is usually referred to as part of a pair, the other half being the man she betrayed after being bribed by the Philistines. Which biblical character?
Delilah.
Absolutely right. It is Delilah of Samson and Delilah. And next question for Tora. Over in Italy, which 115-year-old football club ended a 51-year wait for a trophy by beating giants AC Milan in the latest Coppa Italia final? Giants of the Italian game early on, especially pre-World War II, they had been meandering along for nearly half a century without getting close to any meaningful silverware till their recent triumph.
Genoa.
Not Genoa. John,
Pass.
Tomasz,
Bologna.
Bologna is correct. Well done.
Okay.
It is indeed Bologna. And questions for Tomasz now. The IATA code ECP stands for Emerald Coast of the Panhandle, or depending on who you ask, everyone can party. Fittingly, it applies to the Northwest Blank Beaches International Airport because its original proposal of TFB has been rejected. Which US state is it in?
Florida.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Florida.
That is correct. It is Florida.
Daytona beaches is? Yeah, beaches.
The Florida beaches, the Panhandle being the famous part of Florida. Next question for Tomasz. Raised by her devout Pentecostal mother to be one of God's elect, Jeanette seems destined for missionary life until she falls for one of her female converts. Name this semi-autobiographical 1985 novel with a fruity title where the protagonist shares both name and traits with the author. Ten seconds.
Pass.
John?
Oranges are not the only fruit.
Great answer there.
Wow.
Oranges are not the only fruit by Jeanette Winterson. Nicely worked out. And it's questions for John now. BOGOF, or BOGOF, is an example of a bundle pricing strategy that is very beneficial for retailers since it relies on the consumer's need to get more for the same price. Expand BOGOF.
Buy one, get one free.
That is correct. It is indeed buy one, get one free. And next question for John. HTTP error codes are sometimes inspired by works in other fields. Take, for example, unavailable for legal reasons used when websites are censored. What is the 3-digit code for this in homage to a particular fiery work on censorship and outlawing books?
$410.
No, Tora.
451.
451 is correct. From Fahrenheit
Ah.
451 by Ray Bradbury.
Ah,
Burn the books. Well done, and we're on the halfway point of the quiz, and it's very tight. Tomasz in the lead with 8, Kristian right behind him at 7, and Tora and John right behind Kristian at 6. So it's still anyone's game, and let's go on to round 5. Questions for Kristian. In modern art theory, this effect describes how mass reproduction of an artwork affects our perception of both art and branding. After what brand is this art theory name made famous by an American artist in the 20th century?
Campbell soup.
It is indeed Campbell's. Made famous by Warhol's work. Done. Next question for Kristian. What is the heaviest building in the world, while also being one of the largest office buildings in Europe? If it helps, it is also the 3rd largest administrative building in the world and stood in for the Vatican in the 2018 horror film, The Nun.
Is it the Romanian Parliament?
I will give it to you.
Okay.
It's the Palace of the Parliament in Bucharest, but essentially it is the Romanian Parliament building, or also known as Palatul Parlamentului, and I would accept alternatives such as House of the Republic, Casa Republicai, or the People's House, Casa Poporului. Might have murdered that. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I seem to have hit back on that.
I'll be back in just a second.
Just give me a second. I think I pressed something by mistake. Yeah, share that. Okay.
Back.
Questions for Tora. The program was originally titled Obviously in 2009. The creators envisaged it as a reverse Family Fortunes or Family Feud, rewarding obscure knowledge while allowing people to also give obvious answers, thereby creating a perfect balance between highbrow and populist. Which TV program is this? Oh, sorry.
Connections.
Sorry, did you say Connections?
Yeah.
No, that's incorrect. John?
Pointless.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Pointless.
Pointless is correct. That is the right answer. Show called Pointless. Next question for Tora. Season 1, Episode 3, Now in Color 2021, along with others in the series, explores redacted Maximov's grief over the death of a synthezoid, showing stages of denial, anger, and bargaining. Which TV series is this, set after the events of the film Avengers Endgame 2019?
WandaVision.
WandaVision is correct. Well done. Vision is referred to as a synthezoid. Wanda Maximoff is, of course, the Scarlet Witch. It is the first television series in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's Tomas's questions now. In blank one, raised a blank two through lyrics like "You're born into this life paying for the sins of somebody else's past." Bruce Springsteen draws parallels between his own paternal relationship, the one in the song, and the more fraught relationship between the titular biblical father and son. Name either of these two biblical characters. Ten seconds.
Gad and Christ.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Gad and Christ.
No. Kristian?
Abram?
Not Abram. Tora?
Pass.
John?
I'll pass.
So this is Adam raised a Cain. So it had to be either Adam or Cain.
Right, okay.
Next questions for Tomasz. The diamond bourse in which Dream City is the world's largest diamond trading hub with a floor space of 7,100,000 square feet. This diamond bourse has been the world's largest office building since 2023.
Antwerp in Belgium.
Can you repeat that, please?
Antwerp in Belgium.
No, it's not correct. Tora?
That's what I thought, so I'll pass.
John?
Pass.
Kristian?
Pass.
So my guess would also have been Antwerp, but the bigger diamond exchange actually is in India, in Surat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Reference to the Diamond Research and Mercantile City, also known as Dream City in Surat, Gujarat, India. Next question is for John. This effect is defined as an illusion that the eyes of a portrait appear to follow you, regardless of your viewing angle. It happens due to the front-facing gaze and flat image perspective, which the brain interprets the gaze as directed at you. This effect is named for which painting?
Mona Lisa.
That is correct. It is the most famous portrait in the world, the Mona Lisa effect. Next question for John. In 1957, Alawi monarchs in which country changed their title from Sultan to King upon independence, a title they had been using from the 17th century onwards, including the 5 decades interregnum of European colonial rule? The current king is Muhammad VI.
Saudi Arabia.
Not Saudi Arabia. Tora?
Morocco.
It is Morocco. Well done. And we're on to round 6 now. Kristian's questions. Which psychological pricing strategy involves offering 3 options, 2 similarly priced at the top end, where one is intentionally less attractive to nudge buyers toward the pricier, better one? The operative term Dutch in origin originally referred to a type of structure used in duck hunting, where ducks were lured into a cage-like area.
I don't know.
Ten
Fell pricing.
Can you repeat that?
Fell, F-E-L-L.
No, that's not it. Tora?
I'll pass.
Tomasz?
Pass.
John?
Pass.
This is decoy pricing. Dutch
Oh.
decoy is the direct source of the word, meaning the cage.
Wow.
And next question, Kristian. Defined by the OED as a short shaft or pin, what term is currently used to describe a change of direction or to try a different track? It is not to be confused with a trademarked function for graph and table generation.
Pivot.
That is correct. It is indeed.
Someone told me about Excel pivot graphs recently. That's the only reason I got it.
Nicely done. It is indeed pivot. And it's Tora's questions now. To advertise their service, QuitPlan placed a billboard on top of an inverted vertical large cylindrical object which has been designed with white and cork colors, a dark medium bright shade of orange to resemble a life-sized portion of what item? I would ask you to ignore this life-sized, but read the rest of the question as it is.
Yeah, perhaps it's cigarette now.
It is. It is a cigarette. I'm not entirely sure why the setters went with life size. No cigarette
Oversized,
is
I would
this.
say.
Yeah,
Big mouths on those guys.
but I don't know what cigarettes they're smoking, but
Yeah.
I answered it anyway, but yeah.
okay, next question for Tora. Valley of the Kings is a 1954 Hollywood movie shot on location. While not particularly well regarded by critics, it is now a curiosity amongst history buffs. It depicts what structures built during the reign of Ramesses II, or tell us the construction of what forced their relocation in 1968. This led to a global awareness and conservation effort, now a ready reckoner for quizzers.
The construction of the Aswan Dam.
That will get you the point. The great temples of Abu Simbel were shifted from their original site when the Aswan High Dam was built. The relocation of the Abu Simbel temples, prompted by the threat of submersion from the Aswan High Dam, played a crucial role in the development of the UNESCO World Heritage concept and the establishment of the World Heritage List. So great answer there. Questions for Tomasz now. Tina and Milo, the two mascots of the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina d'Ampezzo, are both anthropomorphic versions of which animal? Its fur was used for warmth in the past, but today is best remembered for its presence in a Da Vinci painting. You can give us either its summer or winter name.
I think about English name. Elmer?
Can you repeat that?
Elmer?
Maybe you could say it in your native language and I can check it.
I'll have to Google this, I think, because I know only the English words for this.
Let's play it out and then check afterwards.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pass you. John?
Ermine.
Ermine is the right answer. Is that what it is?
But maybe we could check it now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
if
a
Thomas
second.
said the same thing in his language, he should get a point.
I'm thinking the same, but
I'm just going to stop sharing
similar.
my screen. Could you spell that out, Tomasz?
It's a painting in Polish museum, so
yeah, that's the same one. That's the
Wasn't-
ermine, lady with the ermine. I've seen that
Lady
painting.
with the ermine. Okay. I think then I can give you that. Just
I think that's fine.
Yeah,
What do you
please
say,
award the
John?
point, Shaiko.
okay. I'll allow the point. All right.
Sorry for discriminating against you English-speaking person, John, so much today.
Yeah, that's.
But-
I will 1 second. I will undo this. That's always a little tricky.
I would ever remember the English word in time, would you, Kristian?
No, I had ermine from the Da Vinci painting, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't remember the other word for it.
Røyskatt, tenker jeg.
Yeah, that is.
So I'm going to award Tomasz correct in this. Yeah, stoat is
Yeah.
stoat or ermine. The term ermine is primarily used to describe the stoat when it has its white winter coat.
Yeah.
All right. Next question for Tomasz. Which psychological pricing strategy, often used at product launches, creams the top layer of high-paying customers before lowering prices for the rest? Its name also refers to a device that steals card data, or what you do when separating milk and cream, or how you often read.
Shifter?
Could you repeat that?
No, it's not shifter. Shifter.
No, that's incorrect. John?
Skimming.
Skimming is correct. It is price skimming, reference to card skimming, skimming milk, and skim reading. All right, questions for John. What is Cliff Clavin is an episode from season 8 of the sitcom Cheers. In the episode, Clavin, played by John Ratzenberger, appears in which TV program?
Frasier.
Could you repeat that?
Frasier.
No. Kristian?
Jeopardy?
Jeopardy is correct. That's why the answers are sort of always given as questions there. So
And we have a quiz show quad.
Yeah. Correct. Next question for John. Kubler-Ross's stages of grief are referenced and explored in the context of adolescent suicide and its aftermath, in which American series, 2017 to 2020, based on Jay Asher's novel of the same name. A box of cassette tapes is central to the plotline.
13 Reasons Why.
That is correct. It is
Lots
13
of illusion
reasons
of why
why.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's good that you put the why right at the end. Otherwise, I would have had to prompt you at least. And we're on to the penultimate round of the quiz. Still very tight. Kristian has taken the lead at 11, Tora and John on 10, and Tomasz right behind them at 9. So let's see how it goes in the last 2 rounds. Questions for Kristian. David Bowie's swan song was named for his prediction that he would become more famous after his death, like the titular biblical character. Sadly, Bowie was informed that his cancer was terminal during the filming of its music video, and he died shortly after its release. Which biblical character?
Lazarus?
Absolutely right. It is Lazarus, he who was raised from the dead. And next question, Kristian. Due to its focus on death, throughout which series, 2001 to 2005, that depicts the lives of the Fisher family, who run a funeral home in Los Angeles, are the stages of grief influenced by Kubler-Ross's work explored in depth?
6 Feet Under.
That is correct. Is 6 feet under. That little clue over there, in depth. All right, Tora's questions now. Among the world's largest office buildings is the headquarters of which national television broadcaster? Its looped shape, two leaning towers joined at top and bottom, earned it the nickname Big Pants, Dakucha. Designed by Ren Koolhaas and Ola Sheeran, it was named the world's best skyscraper in 2013. You'd be forgiven for thinking it was built for mass surveillance. Ten seconds.
Czech Republic.
No. Tomasz?
Russia.
Not Russia. John?
Netherlands.
Netherlands. Kristian?
Pass.
Well, you all didn't think of the country that does
Damn
quite a
it!
lot of surveillance.
I thought China, but since none of you guessed over there, I got scared.
Yeah, because it says Da Kucha in there, which
Yeah, I know that. I also got confused about that but like I still thought it sounded Chinese. Damn it! I should have believed in myself.
Yeah, but what is it? Is it phonetics? That's very confusing.
I am not entirely sure. It might be because the architects were from that part of the
Yeah,
world,
maybe.
but
No, but that looks Czech or Lithuanian,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
it doesn't look
Yeah, for sure.
Dutch at all. That's very confusing, but okay.
yeah, I think
Didn't know it, so.
the clue being you'd be forgiven for thinking it was built for mass surveillance, which is CCTV.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah. All right. Taurus, next question. Among the present-day sovereign states, only two retain the title Sultan for their monarchs. One is the oldest independent state in the Arab world, and the other has the world's largest residential palace. Name either.
Brunei.
Brunei is correct. Anyone want to take a
Oman.
guess on the other one?
It's Oman.
Oman is correct as well. So it's Oman or Brunei. I would not have accepted Malaysia. The formal title for the monarch is Yang di Pertuan Agong. But, well, none of you went with Malaysia. So that is perfect. And the next question is for Tomasz. What term used in fields such as optics to computing per the OED can be defined in different contexts as either the maximum rate of data transfer or a range of frequencies for signal transmission? It is currently used to describe the capacity someone has to handle a situation or task.
Pass.
Tora?
I'll pass.
Kristian?
Bandwidth.
Bandwidth is correct. Well
I
done.
didn't dare. Because optics, it's confusing.
Nicely worked out. And Tomas's next question. The 2022 Indian film Ram Setu shows the destruction of Salsal and Shamama and an archaeological team's subsequent attempts to salvage the remains where they discover a colossal reclining Buddha. How does the world know Salsal and Shamama better? Or where were these artifacts to be found till 2001? Ten seconds.
Zero idea. Pass.
Tora?
The Bamiyan Buddhas.
That is the correct answer. Well done. It is the Buddhas of Bamiyan or the Bamiyan Buddhas. Nicely worked out. Questions for John now. In 1787, the first rare earth mineral was discovered. Yttrium was successfully isolated from this mineral in 1792 by a Finnish chemist. Name either the mineral or element or its namesake chemist who was instrumental in rare earth research.
Pass.
Tora?
Gadolinium.
Perfect answer. Johann Gadolin was the name of the scientist, and gadolinium is what was named after him. Nicely done. Next question for John. After years of struggling with the suffocating expectations of her youth and wondering whether her biggest opportunities had passed her by, which 29-year-old American finally claimed her maiden Grand Slam title in tennis by winning the Australian Open singles this year, relying on her famous fast serve and powerful hands. It was her 46th Grand Slam appearance.
Madison Keys.
Madison Keys is correct. See done. And with that, we move on to the last round of the match. Still quite close. Kristian still in the lead by 1 point at 14. Tora right behind him at 13. John 2 points behind him at 11. And Tomasz 2 points behind John at 9. So still quite close. Best of luck for the last round, everyone. Here are Kristian's questions. In this highly competitive advertisement, Audi presented two options: marriage with 2 intersecting rings and love with its iconic 4 intersecting rings, which is also its logo. To one-up them, rival Mercedes-Benz posted its logo with which appropriate word beneath it, showing how much people love taking their cars out for a ride.
Oh.
10
Drive.
seconds. No. Tomasz?
Sex.
Sex is the right answer.
Oh.
Hmm.
Right.
This is how it went: marriage, love, sex.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sex being the only acceptable answer
Mm.
in this quiz and maybe in life as well. Next question for Kristian. HTTP error codes have entered our everyday lexicon since their introduction. What 3-digit code is used to indicate something which is not found? For example, in the joke, my lecture was in room blank today. I ended up skipping it as I couldn't find it.
404.
404 is correct. Nicely done. And it's Tora's questions now. What IATA code is assigned to a particular airport in Arizona, which shares its name with a US city, a US county, and a US corrective facility known to moviegoers? A US fast food conglomerate is not the source of the name either. Ten seconds. Need an
Mac.
answer? Sorry?
Mac.
No. Tomasz?
Taco.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Taco. Like Taco Bell,
No.
but it's four
No.
letters. Yeah.
John?
KFC.
Not KFC. Kristian?
Yum.
Yum is correct. Well done.
No idea how to get that from anything other than the fast food conglomerate. Oh, Yuma.
The
Okay.
references to 310 to Yuma and to Yum Brands, which owns
Ah.
KFC. So
Well,
you were on the right track with KFC, John,
Yeah.
but I needed
Yeah.
gum. And next question for Tora. In psychology, this effect describes the visceral, empathetic reaction we have to exaggerated depictions of fear or pain. For example, extreme emotional cues like facial contortions. It is not named for a movie franchise, but instead for a late 19th century artwork. Which artwork names this effect?
Scream.
That's correct. It's The Scream by Edvard
Lame to
Munch.
not answer Norwegian, Tora. Lame.
I was afraid I wouldn't get this because I didn't understand it at first.
But well done anyway. Tomas's question now. The proverb, a chain is only as strong as it's redacted, means that the overall strength of a chain is determined by the strength of its most fragile component. The underlying meaning of this saying inspired the name of which TV show that also had an Indian version?
Weakest link.
Weakest Link is correct. Well done. In India, the Indian version was called Kamzor Kadi Kaun, although I don't think that matters here. Weakest Link is the right answer. Next and last question for Tomasz. Hypertext Transfer Protocol or HTTP error codes are sometimes created to suit the technological context of the day. Twitter used to send an unofficial 3-digit code denoting enhance your calm when someone issues an excessive number of requests in a blazingly short period of time. What is this code alluding to the calm ostensibly felt by 5 high school students in San Rafael, California in 1971?
Hmm.
10 seconds.
Pass.
Tora,
Pass.
John,
111.
no, Kristian.
420.
420 is the right answer.
Took me way too long to realize.
The unofficial
But-
code.
Okay.
It's the unofficial code created by Twitter to indicate rate limiting, and it's a reference to cannabis culture.
Calm.
Well done. And it's the last 2 questions of the match, and they're John's questions. Ronnie, the mascot for the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, is an anthropomorphic representation of which animal? The name Ronnie comes from how the animal was referred to in Iroquoian, the language of the native people from the state of New York and Lake Placid.
Raccoon.
Raccoon is correct. Raccoon would have accepted alternative names. For once,
Here there
they've
are
given...
other languages.
Yeah, I know. For once, there are other languages here.
The Norwegian one is pretty much the same as the German, just spelled a little differently.
Okay. Well, for once, they've given the other languages, but we didn't read. So, and we're on the last question of the match, and that is to John. Young blank Henry Trotter lives with two ghastly hags. Aunt Sponge is enormously fat with a face that looks boiled, and Aunt Spiker is bony and screeching. He's very lonely until one day he discovers what titular large fruit at the end of the garden. 2 words in the answer.
Giant peach.
That is correct. It's Giant Peach
Yo.
from the book James and the Giant Peach. And with that, we end the game with Kristian winning with 17 points. And Tora coming second with 14. And John just behind Tora at 13. Tomasz on 11.
Well done,
Well done.
folks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good game.
Bye now.
Thanks for the reading, Sayak. Bye-bye.
No problem.
Bye.
Well done, everyone. Bye.